The show's main character is a strange young woman named Wednesday Adams. The little girl, who is only 13 years old, hardly ever displays any emotion and is completely consumed by an odd preoccupation. She is also well known for dressing in bizarre, gothic, black and white, which everyone finds odd. Wednesday enters her high school in the opening scene with a sinister expression on her face. She discovers her brother Bugsley chained and holding an apple in his mouth inside her locker. As she pushes him away, Wednesday suddenly experiences a vision in which she recognizes the person who terminated her brother. We learn that she is not a typical child in this passage. By simply touching someone, Wednesday has the capacity to glimpse both their past and their future. She enters the swimming room carrying 2 bags filled with piranhas. After she realizes that a group of bullies from the swim squad are responsible for this, she then calmly lets the vicious piranhas loose in the pool. Nobody targets her brother but her. Wednesday asserts as the police flee from their lives in horror. The parents of Wednesday are introduced in the following scene as Morticia and Gomez. The two have made the decision to enroll their daughter in the exclusive Nevermore Academy since they are tired of their daughter's antics. All of the Academy students have special talents and they are given lessons on how to handle them. The fact that Morticia and Gomez are graduates from the same academy suggests that they too possess superpowers. In the meantime, a hiker near the Nevermore Academy sets out in a solitary excursion into the woods. Unfortunately, a mysterious entity attacked him shortly after and killed him. Later, the local sheriff discovers the dismembered body and starts investigating the area. Suddenly, we find out that there have been a lot of recent comparable events. This gruesome murder is not the first of its sort. Wednesday then arrives at the academy, where she is greeted by Nevermore's expertly operated principal Larissa Weems. She introduced her to Wednesday, complete opposite in every manner. Wednesday roommate, a werewolf named Enid, having brightly colored decor on her side of the room. Enid is a simple girl. Wednesday, however, adores all things dark and gothic. Later, Enid gives Wednesday a thorough tour of the academy, while identifying the fangs, furs, stoners, and scales. Cool groupings. Stoners are gorgons with snakes on their heads. Fangs are vampires. Furs are werewolves. Scales are sirens with the power to seduce. Enid also introduced her to Bianca Barkley, the most popular student in the school, and her ex-boyfriend Xavier Sorb, a self-described as artist who can make his pictures come to life. Gomez releases Thing, a servant living hand, as the Adams family drives away in their automobile. Thing has the responsibility of watching over their daughter. The next day, Wednesday enrolls in a fencing lesson where she competes against Skyfall Bianca. The girls decide to take off their mask and fight till one of them bleed first. After some back and forth results in an equal number of points for each. Soon enough, a vicious fight breaks out between them as they match strides for strides. But when Bianca makes a tiny gash on Wednesday's face, she ultimately succeeds in her mission. Wednesday is later nearly killed by a falling stone gurgly as she leaves a hospital after receiving treatment. Fortunately, the death artist Xavier moves her out of the way when he comes just in time. Wednesday goes back to her room shortly after, but she feels like someone is keeping eye on her. She consequently looks around the space and eventually discovers the hand Thing. When Wednesday realizes her parents are to blame, she is threatened to lock the hand in a drawer until he stays faithful to her. Thing declares his loyalty while being terrified. She is required to attend treatment because of the piranha practical joke on Wednesday. Larissa, the principal, drives her to Jericho, a small town outside of Nevermore, for her therapy appointment. When she meets with her therapist, she remains silent. Wednesday, however, has something else in mind. She excuses herself and leaves through the window after using the restroom. When she exits, she unintentionally bumps into a man. Suddenly, she has a vision in which she sees the man being killed. Wednesday enters a nearby coffee establishment with fear. There, she runs into Tyler, a barista who also happened to be the son of the sheriff. The espresso machine Tyler uses is having some mechanical issue. Thankfully, Wednesday can read Italian despite the strange Italian language of the direction. She fixes the device with ease and then requests a ride to the closest bus stop in exchange. Before Tyler can respond, though, 3 police in pilgrim costumes barges into the store and startle her. When Wednesday can no longer take it, she fights back and easily knocks them down. Wednesday attempts to ignore them. Principal Larissa and the sheriff eventually make their way to the business, where they witness the carnage. She yells at Wednesday and drives her out of town. After becoming enraged, they travel by a catastrophic vehicle accident on their way to the academy. The victim is the same man Wednesday had earlier seen in a vision. Later that evening, she performs a melancholy, shallow melody in the balcony of their room. There are numerous werewolves howling in the distance. On this full moon night, Enid, a werewolf herself, announces that she will not be joining them because she is unable to change. Things stop by Tyler's room in the meantime and request a call for Wednesday. Despite being afraid, he agrees and they begin video chatting. Wednesday says it will be great and she wants Tyler to meet her at the harvest fair the next day. She really just wants to get out of the academy. Though we witness Larissa keeping a close eye on Wednesday while at the fair. Despite this, the young goth somehow catches up to Tyler. The two are on the verge of leaving when Wednesday accidentally runs into Rowan, one of her classmates. Since Wednesday touched him, she has a vision in which Rowan has been viciously mauled to death by someone. He flees into the woods right away. She changes her mind and pursues him to break the news after becoming terrified. Rowan secures her high up on a tree using telekinesis before she has a chance to speak. Then he says that his mother, a gifted seer, had seen Wednesday destroying the Nevermore Academy 25 years earlier. Rowan thinks that in order to prevent anything awful from happening, he must kill her. He then begins telekinetically strangling her when all of a sudden a huge monster bursts in, rips Rowan to pieces, and disappears into thin air. Wednesday looks at the drawing of his mother that she allegedly created while standing over his dismembered remains. The sheriff and the other police officers start looking for Rowan's body shortly after, but they are unsuccessful. As was to be predicted, the sheriff doubts Wednesday, claims that a monster attacked Rowan and believes it was actually a Nevermore student. When an officer interrupts their discussion, we unexpectedly encounter Rowan, who is still very much alive. When Wednesday gets to her room, she observes that Enid is too absorbed in the puka competition, a yearly boot riding contest. She tries to talk to Rowan later but is told by the principal, Larissa, that he has been expelled for a reason she is unable to disclose. As a result, Wednesday switches to Plan B and requests that Thing watch over Rowan. The action then shifts to Rowan arriving at the railway station with Thing hot in his heels. He sneaks into the bathroom after taking his surroundings and assumes the appearance of an elderly guy. Suddenly, Thing gets distracted and misses this metamorphosis. Later, he takes on the identity of Principal Larissa. This exposes that she is actually a shapeshifter who is trying to cover up Rowan's death for whatever reason. Without any other choice, Wednesday searches the woods for sign of Rowan's murder. Tyler, who is after his father, is traveling with her. She eventually locates Rowan's glasses, and as she's left them up, a vision strikes her. She sees a purple book in the vision where Rowan acquired the drawing. Without wasting any time, Wednesday asks her teacher about the book, and the latter replies that it belonged to the Nightshades, a former club for students, but the society has long since been abolished. Wednesday sneaks into Rowan's room after school to look for the book under his bed. She discovers a mask, but Xavier shows there before she can leave. He is in fact Rowan's roommate. As soon as Bianca arrives to see her ex, Wednesday instantly hides under the bed. She hears them talking and finds out that Bianca intends to humiliate Enid in the forthcoming boat riding competition. So as soon as she gets back to her room, Wednesday makes the decision to support Enid by entering the contest so that they can defeat Bianca. Wednesday and Enid prepare for the contest the following day. Since there are no regulations, everything's fair game, and Bianca is taking advantage of this. There are 4 teams, and the object of the game is for them to row a boat to a location and back. The winner is the first person to cross the finish line unharmed and without passing out in the lake. Bianca makes a clue about one of her buddies who is prepared to sabotage the other boats as the competition gets underway. The friend, who later reveals himself to be a mermaid, jumps into the lake and flips one of the boats, which illuminates the team. Fortunately, Wednesday and Enid are ready, and with Thing's assistance, they are able to capture the mermaid. Wednesday, however, experiences a different view while competing. This time, she encounters a blonde-haired version of herself who informs her that she holds the key. When Wednesday finally realizes what is going on, she discovers that Bianca's team is in the lead. She and Enid chooses to play dirty because they are unwilling to give up. They finally succeed in winning the contest by using Bianca's cunning strategies against her. This marks the first time in 40 years that a non-siren team has triumphed in the prestigious competition. Later, Principal Larissa presents the Book Cup trophy to Enid in celebration of the winning squad, but Wednesday can't handle the tension, so she turns to Edgar Allan Poe, a former pupil of the Nevermore institution, for comfort. Under the stone book he is clutching, she suddenly notices a symbol. The image Rowan handed her before he was killed was also engraved with the same symbol. Wednesday gets a clue, snapping twice. After quickly solving a series of puzzles engraved into the book, she abruptly snaps twice, revealing a hidden chamber and a hidden passageway. There, Wednesday is able to locate Rowan's book where he tore the image. She places the book in her backpack, but someone quickly places a black bag over her head. Soon later, when the bag is removed, she discovers that the Nightshades group is made up of Bianca, Xavier, and a few other people. It turns out that Principal Larissa covertly reactivated the group after it had previously been disbanded. Wednesday is persuaded to join their gang by Xavier, but she immediately declines and leaves. The annual outreach day, during which the Nevermore peoples will have to interact with normies by working alongside them at their business, as announced by Principal Larissa in the following scenario. Wednesday informs Xavier that his roommate might have been murdered once they got to town. The latter doesn't think Rowan is dead because he was simply banished. Despite this, Wednesday shows him the image Rowan's mother drew. When Xavier examines it closely, he discovers that Joseph Crackstone, the founder of Jericho, is shown in the image. Later, Wednesday makes the decision to work as a volunteer in the Pilgrim Ward, the location where Jericho's past is preserved. She runs across Eugene, a young boy she had gotten to know through the beekeeping group. The two start conversing and talking their surrounding right away. The Pilgrim Ward's caregiver, Miss Arlene, soon approaches the students. She leads them through the museum and describes some of Joseph Crackstone's favorite artifacts. When Wednesday inquires further about the relics, he discovers that they include a family chamber pot in addition to original agricultural implements and dinner board. She would like to work there, but she's unable to do the renovation. Instead, they will all be employed by the BuIIied fudgery to serve cakes and fudge to visiting visitors. Later, Wednesday enters the Crackstone family chamber. Undetected, with Eugene's help, the girl from her vision is shown in a painting of the historic meeting place that she discovers. She soon discovers the book the girl was holding as well, but Wednesday is suspicious that it's a fake. When she sees that the pages are blank, Arlene, the nanny, shows in at the same moment and catches her. Arlene recently admits that the original book was taken last month when Wednesday inquires about it. At the coffee cafe, Taylor and Wednesday meet up again later. Taylor responds to the second person question regarding Joseph Crackstone by saying that what is left of the old meeting house is heading away in the woods. Miss had to stay there because it's essential essentially a ruin and a crash pad. Wednesday and Thing immediately head into the woods in search of a Joseph Crackstone residence. They ultimately locate it, but Thing chokes the homeless guy and scares him away. Wednesday unexpected vision. This time she goes back in time for 100 years. We recognizes a blonde girl she spoke with in the previous vision. The girl is being surrounded by locals who are calling her the devil's offspring. Joseph Crackstone soon emerges from the throng and refers to her as BuIIied Adams. He declares her to be a witch and sentences her to death in a burn full of other people who have been declared witches, including her mother. In response, Gully accuses them of robbing them of their peaceful attitude, seizing their property, and killing the defenseless. After giving her a long, angry look, Joseph ignites a burn. Gully makes numerous attempts to set her mother free, but in vain. Finally, when all other options have failed, she escapes through a trap door. Wednesday joins them in the burn as they watch this all go on. So after Goody approaches her and warns her that Joseph won't end his crusade until all of them have been dead. With this realization, Wednesday emerges from her protected vision and tells Thing everything that has happened. They suddenly realize that the beast that killed Rowan is following them. In the downpour, Wednesday tries to catch up but is unable to. She therefore proceeds to follow the tracks, which mysteriously begin to change into human footprint. The creature is essentially a human. As this shows, she immediately runs into Xavier and informs him of what she observed. The tracks had already been washed away by the rain. When he once examines them, everyone gathers once more the next day in the town square to celebrate the unveiling of a new state honoring Joseph Crackstone. While the mayor and the rest announce the state, Wednesday performs an instrumental radiation of Fleetwood Mac's Don't Stop with the Jericho marching band, but when Thing ignites the state with Wednesday instruction, Calamity strikes. Wednesday eyes glitter with malice as she plays the cello quickly while others flee in terror. Later, Principal Rerissa lashes out at Wednesday, thinking that she was to blame for what happened. The kid, however, denies having taken any action and instead confronts Larissa for refusing to admit the gruesome ritual truths that form the basis of Jericho. The homeless man from before gets assaulted by the monsters at night, and his camera starts recording the event. The homeless man is discovered dead when the sheriff and his team reach the forest range shortly. After their arrival, they found video in his camera that might identify the offender. The sheriff views the killer's face, a creature out of the nightmare, after developing the image.